And there we go. Perfect. No, I appreciate your time, and hopefully this is a chance to check back in. I know for some of you, we may have met earlier in the year. We did a similar session back in, I believe, February of this year, which feels like a lifetime ago. And yeah, just really wanted to connect with this group, share a few insights now that we're nearly 8-9 months into this program together all across the province, and have some really interesting data to share with you. For those that didn't catch the first session, I will provide just a little bit of an overview and make sure we're all on the same page of what I'm talking about and who Togetherall is. And then really just open up the Q&A and get your insights into, now that we're slowly starting to ease restrictions and there is a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel, curious what you're hearing on the ground around how people are feeling, how people are feeling with their mental health and their well-being, and return to sort of some form of normal, and really how we can work together to make sure that those that may still be feeling a little bit nervous and anxious about sort of going into 2021, how we can support them with tools like Togetherall. So what I'm going to do is I'll actually turn off my camera just in case, for extra bandwidth, make sure that it's coming through fine on your end, and then I'll turn it back on at the end. So I'll stop that. And then now let me share my screen with you. Okay. And do let me know if at any point you can't see my screen. There's nothing worse than me blabbering on and there's tech issues. So please do feel free to interrupt. But for those that I haven't met, my name's Victoria Senyard. I'm a partnerships manager with Togetherall, and this is largely, a chunk of what I do with my role is education, outreach, engagement with community groups across those that have access to our tools. And so in this case, when we're talking about Alberta-wide, we're talking about, you guys, we're talking GPs, CMHA reps, we're talking anyone and everyone that's sort of interacting with different populations that could do with a little bit of extra mental health support. So for those that are brand new and haven't heard of Togetherall, I'll just provide a quick overview here. So really what we offer is an evidence-based, clinically moderated online peer-to-peer mental health community. And it's a place where all Albertans can anonymously seek and provide support to others in a really safe and inclusive space. So we help connect peers with other peers around common mental health concerns. And it's a place where they can share their lived experiences with common stresses, things that are going on in their life, and really just looking for a little bit of validation and extra support. Could even be between sessions, between other counseling or other tools that they're accessing, or it could be those that are just looking for a bit of self-help type support and looking to bounce those ideas around those that may be going through something similar. The Togetherall offering is in partnership with the Alberta government and Alberta Health Services. And so what makes that great is that it's freely available to all Albertans over the age of 16. So that's the only stipulation, have to be 16 plus. But other than that, we're talking all sorts of people and everyone that you interact with, including yourselves. This is a difficult time for everyone. If this is something that you can benefit from, friends, family, peers, colleagues, as well as those community groups that you might support. Really easy to register and access all of the tools that I'm going to be showing you today. It's through our mobile responsive website, togetherall.com, and you create an anonymous account to use. And the registration there is connected to a valid Alberta postal code. So really easy, takes about 5 minutes to set up, and then you have access to this peer community. Taking a step back, who is Togetherall? So we've been around since 2007. We were actually founded in the UK and have since branched out into North America and New Zealand. We're supporting over 270 organizations of all different types, sizes, focuses across those different jurisdictions. So government contracts, large public health, population-based contracts, higher education, so direct institutions that we work with in Canada and the US, as well as some really nuanced groups, so nurses unions, armed forces, and employer sectors as well. And you can see a few examples there. More information about who we work with and the work we're doing most recently, you can find on the website. Little bit more about, so the backbone of this offering too is that it's a really safe an inclusive place for people to come and share their mental health concerns. So being an online environment, we want to make sure that it is safe, and we do that by having, we call them our war guides. These are our registered mental health practitioners that are providing 24/7 service moderation and escalation. So they're keeping an eyes on the community. They are all registered and licensed to practice in the different jurisdictions in which they're based. So we have war guides based in Alberta, in Canada more broadly, and across the UK, US, and New Zealand. In Canada, they tend to be from the backgrounds of a master's in clinical counselling or social work, and they're providing these three primary roles. So one is sort of general vibrancy, encouraging members to open up, share their story, feel safe to have those kind of difficult conversations. They're promoting self-care, so recommending other resources that might be relevant, ensuring the other peers are interacting and sort of facilitating some of that discussion. Ensuring anonymity is a big one too. So when members use our platform, again, they're creating an anonymous username, and that's how they're seen to other members in the community. And that's a really big one because it allows people to open up and express themselves in perhaps a way they wouldn't feel comfortable in sort of face-to-face or other situations. And so that safety, that inclusivity, that open to everyone's experiences is something that draws a lot of people to our offerings. Risk and safety is obviously a big one. So the war guides are ensuring all of our members understand and adhere to what we call our house rules. So maintaining that anonymity, for example, maintaining the positivity and the supportiveness of the community. And they're also keeping an eye out for those that may be displaying signs of vulnerability or risk. And this is where the technology itself helps us, in that it's able to flag behaviors, risk words, trigger words to help draw attention to certain pieces of the platform. So the war guides can then dive into that a little bit more and apply that clinical rigor. So it can play out in a few different ways. Sort of lower end a piece might be that we're signposting other relevant resources that they might be able to access and promote that self-care. And at the far end, if we are worried about imminent risk, we're able to work with that member to de-anonymize further and help connect them to local emergency services for that in-person wellness check. Actually doesn't happen that often because we don't promote ourselves as a counseling tool or a crisis tool. We are a peer-to-peer community. We don't get that that interaction of sort of those the far end sort of risk scenarios very often, but we do have the mechanisms to support when we do. And again, that's a key piece to keep in mind here, is that we are meant to be sort of a little bit more general, something, a wraparound service that complements other resources. It's not meant to replace anything that you might already be recommending your community groups or anything like that. But it's just another option for those that are seeking some support. So while they are masters in clinical counselling and social work, they're not providing one-on-one counselling or therapy of any kind. It's more that moderation of the platform and being able to signpost and redirect members. So this will make sense when I switch over to the platform itself. So what I'm going to do is switch screens for you and show you what this actually looks like. So for those that haven't accessed the tool, I highly recommend jumping in and having a bit of a play around yourself once you have a chance. Again, if you go to togetherall.com, there's a register here button, and it's going to prompt you to put in your Alberta postal code and create an account. Again, it'll take about 5 minutes, and this is the platform that you will then have access to. So you can see here, this is my anonymous username, Ollie Cat. So that is my Chucky Siamese, who you can probably hear running around in the background. And this is how I'm seen to other members within the platform. Now, the wall guides, when I first joined, they would send a welcome email orienting me to how to use the platform, where to find certain pieces. I can always reach out to them proactively with questions as well. And they, in their view, would also be able to see that I was from Alberta. And that's how they're able to signpost Alberta-specific resources to me as well. 3 main buckets of resources that I can access. We'll go into each. So this is the community forum portion. And so this is where peers are interacting with other peers on all sorts of different topics. You can see each of these represents a different thread or a different topic that's happening. And it's really active. So you can see, here, this was updated 1 minute ago, 2 minutes ago. So the beauty of having this global community where members from not just Alberta, but the UK, US, New Zealand, all of these eligible members are contributing to this same anonymous platform. It means that someone in Alberta can jump in at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning, and there's always discussions being had and always activity, which keeps it really vibrant. Couple of ways to filter this content down by the topics you might be interested in reading or contributing to is under the categories tab here. And you can see here lots of different categories. COVID-19 comes up a lot, as you'd expect. We have gender identity, happiness, loneliness, parenting, stress, working from home, all sorts of different things. You can then tick those off, and that will then filter these by the tags that the people that have created these posts have used to help describe what their topic might be about. Other way to filter this content is by the type of post. So we have a talk about, which is a written thread, and we have a brick, which is a visual thread. And that brick is really good for those that maybe struggle to articulate how they feel, but gravitate towards maybe being more creative and describing or illustrating how they feel. So once you find the things that you're interested in, you can star them, and they actually become part of your starred threads that you're following along. And then you sort of get notifications if there's been new comments and activity on those pieces. Again, you can see these are some of the starred ones that I found really interesting. You can see lots of different things around sexuality, bereavement, international students coming, new parenting, all sorts of different things. Pull up a couple of examples so you can see how this plays out. Now, this is a little bit of an older post, but a good one. So this is someone saying they've titled it, they're unsure about therapy, and they've titled it as a category around recovery. So they sort of said, I've been considering seeking out therapy, but I don't know if I should try it. I do get it for free with my university, but I'm still a bit unsure. These are some of the issues that they're experiencing. Self-esteem sort of coming out as well. And basically they're just putting it out to their peers to see, has anyone else tried it? Should I do it? What was their experience? And sort of getting some feedback. So just, sort of a lower level need, just really asking for advice. And then you get other people chiming in to say, if you think you could benefit from someone, trust your instinct, you probably would. Don't compare yourself to others. It's confusing. It'll be a bit tricky. But keep notes on the things that you like, that you can discuss. Therapy really helped me. Give it a shot. Good luck. And again, you have sort of other people saying the same thing. I've had this problem in the past where I felt guilty about seeking therapy, but do it. It helped me. And you have that original poster sort of coming back and saying, thank you thank you for your comments. I think I'll give it a go. Just a simple example. Another sort of simple example is this is someone that's saying newborn baby anxiety. Again, this is 3 months ago. They've said, I've just become a parent, and they're just finding that they lack confidence to be able to do all of the things that you have to do with a newborn. They feel really inadequate. They're worried they're not supporting their partner. Am I just stupid? How do I deal with this? And this is part of what our wall guide's role would be too. So they're responding to this person and welcoming them to joining and posting for the first time. We can hear that being a parent is creating anxiety, so reflecting some of that same sentiment, not providing counseling or therapy, but just really reflecting that sentiment and encouraging other peers to weigh in. And then you see other people do sort of come in and say, congratulations, I have 2 children. And yeah, it's hard. This is what happened with me. Good luck. You'll get there. And same sort of thing. This is normal. So normalizing that idea, particularly for fathers, that it takes a little bit longer. Forgive yourself, talk to your partner. It sounds like you'll be great. Hang in there. And again, you have that original poster that sort of comes back and says, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. They talked with their partner and they're feeling a lot better about the situation. The last one I want to show you is a bit of a darker one deliberately. So this is someone that's used that brick element to actually illustrate how they're feeling and have provided an additional caption. So they've titled this Crushed. And you can see here, this is something that they've freehand drawn, and there are different options. You can freehand, you can upload imagery, again, that isn't too personally identifiable, but different options to be creative. And then the caption here is saying, things are not good. I'm feeling really lonely. I had a conversation with a friend. I burst into tears. Everyone around me is doing so well, and I'm happy for them, but I don't see my future in bright colors. I'm worried I'll end up in that mental frustration black hole forever. They thought about self-harming, but they don't want to go there, not again. So you can see this is a different tone to those first ones, and our response is different because of that. So because of some of this language, and not just individual words, but the phrasing and the combination of words has been picked up by our triggers and has been flagged to a war guide to step in and sort of review. So our war guide is sort of, again, reflecting some of that same sentiment, thanking them for being honest, because we wouldn't know unless they, felt comfortable to reach out in the first place. But they're also saying, hey, we're going to be reaching out to you directly in case you need a little bit of extra support. So because of this, we would have reached out to that member one-on-one to check in, to do a bit of a risk assessment and see whether we need to escalate this person to more, more specialized services and sort of do that risk piece. Interestingly, you still do get other people weighing in, particularly around that idea of that trying to break out of that mental frustration black hole, and how to knock some stimulus back into the conversation. You have the original poster interacting, which I think is a really positive sign, and appreciating their suggestions, and sort of goes backwards and forwards. And again, you get the original poster sort of saying, I don't really have anyone I can talk to about this in person, hence why I'm here. So again, really good to kind of see that this is someone that now has some sort of tool and is on our radar and is connecting with others to get some support. So that's that community portion. And just quickly, I'll show you the other two pieces. So these are courses, these are self-help modular-based courses that people can enroll in and complete in their own time. They're based on CBT principles, modular, and in each of them also have a group talk about, which is someone can join that talk about and actually connect with others that are doing this same course and have a chat sort of about that topic. Still moderated by a war guide, still seen by a war guide, just a different way for people to find resources and connect. And then the last section here is our resources section.
Running out of money.
So within those courses, there are also other little self-help tools, journaling, goal setting, articles to download. Oops.
Running over to the. I'm waiting for Brian to come to fix. I can't open Adobe.
Oh,
I
no.
don't have the license. Didn't transfer, so it won't let me use Adobe.
Sorry, guys. We might, if you're not on mute.
I have printed, and I think it's right there, the minutes so that I can take them to the ATB. Unless they say I need.
Oh, okay. someone obviously muted. Thank you. No problem. So I was just sort of saying on the resource section, some other little tools that people can access. These are mini clinically validated self-assessments that people can do. Not meant to be diagnostic by any means, but more of a plant the seed and a check-in. So based on things like GAD-7, PHQ-9, again, war guides would see if someone scored highly on these and can sort of check in and see how they're doing. And the last section here is our resources. So when you register as an Albertan, I'm in sort of a demo site right now, but you can see we have articles and content that are our content, and then those that are sort of provincially available. So here you would have 211, 811, the CMHA Alberta resources. You'd have tiles that are relevant to an Albertan member, but these are just sort of examples of others that we can configure. And then we have our own resources and articles piece as well. So just going back to the main dashboard, so my account settings are sort of up the top that I can play around with. Privacy, house rules, contact us, all of that good stuff is sort of in the footer there, and that sort of that piece. So I'm going to switch back over to the presentation and actually share with you how this is going in Alberta. So we, to date, and this is probably a little bit end of last week, so we actually have had over 10,800 Albertans register and are using the Togetherall platform today, which is pretty fantastic. And that's since October of last year. So we're talking, not a full year yet, but this is, again, knowing the landscape and everything that's been going on. We're really proud that we're being able to reach lots of different groups that are needing some support during this difficult time. Some other stats here. So 59% of our Alberta member base specifically are members that are aged under 35. 26% of those identify as being Black, Indigenous people of colour, which is great to see. And actually that number climbs when you segment by, if we just look at the student population, for example, it's a little bit higher and it sort of changes as you look, but this is sort of our full member base. Number of times people on average are sort of coming back to the platform and contributing to the platform is around 3.5 times, which is good. 46% of our members are currently employed. Interestingly, 24% identify as being unemployed or having a disability or illness that prevents them from working right now. So that's a group obviously that we're, is sort of vulnerable and we're looking to support in any way we can. 17% of our member base identify as being current students. And as I was mentioning before, part of what we're also able to do is escalate those that may be displaying signs of risk and ensure that they have that support and that wellness check. So to date, since October, we've had 48 escalations where we've supported and been able to really connect those with local emergency services. So not a huge group compared to the nearly 11,000 are using, but great to see that we have those mechanisms. We also ask our member base some survey questions just to understand why they're using Togetherall. And some of the key pieces that have come out have said, 89% of our member base have joined and have actually, but because of joining Togetherall, it's actually helped their well-being. So we have sort of well-being scores, and we're looking at how many of these well-being indicators are they improving on as a result of being part of the community. And 89% do show an improvement. 88% feel less isolated because of joining the Togetherall community. And 20% actually report that they don't know where else they would seek mental health support if they didn't have access to Togetherall at this time. We're working with lots of different community groups. FCSSA is one of them. Thank you so much for all your support to date, and hopefully we can continue that partnership. Also working obviously very closely with CMHA Alberta, Healthy Campus Alberta, Mental Health Project, all sorts of different groups that are getting behind Togetherall and really just helping us spread the word. So just a nice quote there from the Canadian Mental Health Association. And I think the key piece here is, this recognizing that as we continue to navigate COVID-19, we're going to see the impacts, the mental health impacts long term, and we're all still figuring out what that looks like. And so having the ability to have resources like Together or like other resources as well that are available, is so important. And we hope we need them to sort of stick around, and we need to make sure everyone feels like they have somewhere that they can turn. So in wrapping up, before we open it up to Q&A, the ask here is really, help us spread the word. If you haven't created an account and registered today, I highly recommend it. It is free, it is quick. It lets you dive into some of those conversations a little bit more deeply, explore those resources. Again, things that might be relevant to you or to those that you work with. So visiting togetherall.com and clicking on that register today button will create that account. We have lots of marketing materials that we can share with you, and I know Melissa and the team have some of those stockpiled, but we can also send those out as well. So things like digital flyers you can share, mini 2-minute videos that are explainer videos, social media content, all sorts of different things to make your life easier to then share with the different groups you interact with. If you ever have a group that you want to bring this or a shorter demo back to, I'm more than happy to host something similar. You can always reach out to me. And really just include Togetherall in your suite of mental health resources. So as you're introducing and talking about other options, keep us in mind. If this is something that you think would resonate with those groups, please do pass on the information. You can reach out to me at victoria.sanyard. I'll make sure you have my email. I'll put it in the chat after this. Or you can reach out to our general inbox, which is theteam@togetherall.com, and also available on our website. So I'll stop there, and I will see whether there are any questions or comments. Everyone's quiet. It's early.
No. Does anyone have any questions for Victoria about Togetherall? I guess you did a great job.
Well, let's assume that. Let's go with that.
Has anyone used Togetherall or hosted a session in your community? Excellent.
Great. And just sort of to my first point when we first kicked off, I think just reiterating that yes, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I'm one of them that is looking forward to sort of the summer and seeing how things pan out. But just keeping in mind that I think it's still going to be a bit of a long road. We don't know what that road will look like. We'll figure it out as we go along, and we'll work together to come out of this stronger, whatever that looks like. So just keep us in mind for yourselves, for others. If you want to check us out a little bit more, visit the website togetherall.com, or let us know if we can send you any information. But this is something that, again, can be applied in lots of different ways. You can see those different examples from parents to students to, elderly. We have 65 plus group as well. Anyone and everyone that could do with a bit of support. Chances are there's conversations being had around that. I did see one question come in. So the question is, how could this be promoted to parents who are concerned about their children wanting self-harm, and the parents want resources of how to talk to them about it, as well as suicide ideation? What conversations could they have? So my suggestion, absolutely, this is we often get a lot of people using the site for their own concerns, or also seeking for advice on how to support someone with a concern. So we see parents on there, saying, hey, this is my situation, this is what I'm dealing with a partner or a student, a child, and looking for other parents to sort of say, how have you had these difficult conversations? So I would definitely recommend this is a place where they can come have those honest conversations too, because of the anonymity and because of the ease of access. Coming, seeing what people have. There are other resources in there too. Some of those courses and articles might be relevant to that topic. So I think that it gives them a safe place to explore some of this before introducing it to their child. Again, because it's anonymous, it's something that parents can also then share with their child. I think particularly when it's these sort of conversations, there's still unfortunately a lot of stigma around reaching out. There's still a lot of hesitancy towards getting help, but this might be a stepping stone where the child can actually, assuming they're 16 plus, can sort of reach out and have these conversations with their peers, and know that we have those clinical moderators that are keeping an eye and keeping the safety there. So absolutely, I'd recommend these to parents.
There was another question there, Victoria, about the funding.
Okay, so you're funded by the Alberta government. What is the length of the current contract, and are you optimistic about the future? Always optimistic about the future. Yes, so yes, it's a government-funded initiative. So full transparency, government changes, things change. We were initially rolled out as a COVID response back in October, but things are looking good for an extension. So this program is technically, contract comes up in November, but we're in discussions right now to extend that into 2022, and everything is pointing towards positive to extend that. So everyone's sort of in that same mindset of, let's not take away resources too soon before we know how this is going to affect people. So right now, everything's looking good for an extension. The other piece on that too is that the way it works is that when a member registers, they have a 6-month license. So if they register and it comes up to 6 months and they decide they don't need to use it, maybe they needed just sort of timely support and they're okay now, and they can choose to renew, and they can renew for another 6 months, still for free, all under the same contract, just keeps our licenses sort of active. But they can, so if someone, for example, coming up to that November timeframe, if someone registered a few days before that, they would still have 6 months worth of access. So no one gets sort of cut off straight away. We're definitely supporting people and easing them off into other resources. But just as an FYI, so we're pushing all the way through to the end to continue. But as I said, things are looking good for a 2022 extension.
Are there any other questions for Victoria? Excellent.
Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Melissa. Thanks for inviting me. We'll make sure, I guess, the recording and a couple of the marketing pieces get distributed for those that weren't able to join. But yeah, if you do think of any other questions or want to reach out, please do feel free to contact me or the team at togetherall.com.
Great. Thank you, Victoria.
Thank you. Bye.
Have an excellent day, everyone. Bye.